Hey there guys, my name's Nivy. Welcome to today's episode of Too Much Free Time FM, where this Malaysian guy talks about the things he likes. Now I have time in the middle of work, but let me talk to you about a short topic about my obsession with improving in making visual content, visual audio content. Now, throughout the past few years, ever since I got a job, I have been more dedicated to making pieces, making works for either commercial, either for self-fulfillment, basically for publicity, I guess. And visual works, there are many kinds. So let's categorize them a little bit. So one, obviously art, illustrations. Two, graphics is one, right? Graphics with purpose, many types of purposes. Number three, video and audio. Number four, pure audio. All of those are so unique to each other. All of them need a very, very specific level of experience to be able to have you be confident enough to tell people like, this is what I do, this is what I am, right? So right now I am actually in Shah Alam, Kapar in Malaysia. This is just a random orchard, I guess you can call this, where I'm just walking around while I have a break to do a little bit of what I want to do. So 15 minutes to 20 minutes, let me just talk to you about what I think about visual works and where I am right now and how I want to keep it up, right? So number one, on the graphics and artwork side. Now I have always loved drawing, not because I love it that much, but it's more like this has been a skill I have since young. So the standards of why I make art is very different than the people who make it, you know, earn money off of it properly, like have a following. I know there are probably other factors to why I don't have a following, and I don't really care. It's more like, do I really love art enough to tell myself that I have to get a following for my art? That's the thought that I have. So I personally don't actually think I have, or am I gonna prioritize becoming an artist publicly? Because just because I can draw doesn't mean that's the path I should go for, you know? So when it comes to artwork, I find myself more focused on the cartoon, anime, more than the realism side. Not because, okay, firstly, it's because I can't do realism as confidently. I don't have a particular eye to doing that yet. Now, any skill can be gained as long as you have time, right? Any skill can be gained as long as you have time. But whether that's the time I want to put in now is the second question. Now, moving on to that, graphics. Graphics is very, very special, in my opinion. Because compared to art, illustration, where either it's practically like a photography, right? It's a character as a focus, or a landscape, or a subject. Either way, it's one person's view that is being illustrated out. When it comes to graphics, it's more about, for me, the type of graphics I'm saying is like posters, events, stuff like that, where it's more functional than form first. Because you think about it, most people who do graphics don't really look at form first, but function first. It's like all the details just cram in there, everything just cram right in there. And then it's like, oh, how do I make this look at least aesthetically competent? The question is, it really Everybody does it differently. There's no right or wrong. I'm not even gonna say there's right or wrong. The way I do my graphics is I kind of find myself, I don't have the talent to really, because I'm out of practice to be honest, to use my illustration skills in my graphic design. I find myself don't have as much confidence in that, so I kind of gave up a little. Instead, I currently think I have the ability to make use of any asset I can get to make a good looking composition plus information on top. So again, what do I know, right? You have to find the answer for yourself, and every single client, every single time you try it, it will be different. No worries on that. Make bits of progress until you get to the point where like people like it. And you, like, first step, you need to like it. Second step, people need to like it. Then third step, how many people will see it? That's the priority list. You know, if the people around you say it's good, you can kind of say, a sense of confidence is there. Now, audio, right? Let's prioritize from small scale to bigger scale, because it gets harder and harder per level. Audio are things like music, podcasting, like broadcasting, like radio and stuff like that. So when it comes to music, I don't know anything about it, to be honest. I don't know how to mix. I don't know how to properly harmonize. I have no actual musical history, nor actual music studies that much. I just know that this sounds like this and I can generally play it. So like, I have a foundation in music based on when I was 8, I learned piano. When I was from elementary till high school, I was in a school band. So all of those experience does make me very, very aware to music. Obviously, mostly at the time, it's like genres like classical, swing, jazz, most of those types of genres. So when it comes to the type of genre I generally really enjoy, less of the electronic stuff and more of the classic orchestral, big band, jazz, funk. Those are the types that I generally go towards. So that's usually my list of songs that I usually like. But when it comes to making podcasts or audio recording, being a good host, being able to keep the topic interesting is not easy. I have to be honest. Am I doing it well? I don't fucking know. But if somebody can understand what I'm saying and not get bored of how I'm saying it, maybe that's a good thing, you know, all right? So that's what I think about podcasting. Now, obviously, the technical stuff takes time to learn, but more importantly, how you want to make the information that's coming out of your mouth more interesting to listen to. That is what audio and hosting means to me, all right? It's very hard to communicate, especially if it's audio only. Now, one step up from that, video and audio. If it's just visuals, you can control what's in the frame, right? Like right now, I'm just holding a tripod. It doesn't look bad, and I'm only having like a close medium shot, like everything above my chest is in frame. That's pretty much how it looks. But when you think about it, there's much more than you think. Because right now, this is my first time using a lavalier mic for the podcast, like specifically for the podcast, because coincidentally, I have this equipment and I'm just waiting here. I have nothing better to really do just yet. So visual and audio. I think visual audio studies is something every creative commercially is probably the one that can earn you the most, in my opinion. Because one big job as a video audio guy, you can earn a lot more than a single piece of artwork, a single campaign, you know, one product one thing that you produce is technically worth more because the labor is more intensive, the time takes is more intensive because how should I say this? Every aspect of the pieces that I mentioned earlier, composition, graphics, illustration, the visuals to the audio, all combined into one, which makes video, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to really find the right formula, especially, any type of content. And there's so many ways to do it, so many ways things can be interpreted, that finding the way to actually do it takes a while. So when it comes to video audio, right, right now I'm using my phone. That's because my phone is the only thing with a fucking headphone jack that I can connect this lavalier mic to. But generally, I have a few cameras right now, functionally. A phone, every single person has a phone for a camera, right? I also have a DJI Osmo Pocket 1. That one's a pocket camera. How good is it? I won't say. It's been usable. My next current goal is definitely a mirrorless camera, because a mirrorless can do a lot, especially for me, because now I really am aiming to level up. I will need to be able to, do more commercial work or do more works that are a little bit more artistically driven, something more controlled, I guess, more custom. So that is a few things I'm thinking of. When it comes to cameras, right now I'm looking at Sony specifically. I am aiming for the Sony A7 IV, or if I can't afford it, I can go for the newly announced Sony Sony 6700. That one looks like the right sweet spot for me to have a gear that I can just keep using for the next foreseeable 5 to 10 years. No need to upgrade it, especially in the current age where a lot of the tech has pretty much hit the slow rise part where technology is improving. But generally everything is very usable now. 4K is pretty much competent like a motherfucker. Everybody can use 4K for a lot of things. Like a simple 4K video, you can do so much more editing without looking bad compared to a 1080p video. And right now, it's looking pretty good, So I think that's pretty much it for this topic. So my name is Snivy. If you guys enjoy Too Much Free Time FM, make sure to share. And let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about these different ways of bringing what's in your head into the world. And what do you think you can improve in your own works? If you are an artist, if you're like a talk show host, or you like to do streaming, anything, just let me know, So my name is Snivy. This is Too Much Free Time, available on all podcasting platforms, especially here, mainly on YouTube, and follow and everything. If you're listening to this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, give it a like. It helps a lot. And I will see you guys next time.